O'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. If you could all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We have quite a full agenda, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I believe, is Larry speaking now?
I'm sorry. I have my headphones.
Yeah.
All right. This is going to be real bland and boring. I have to read this verbatim, so it's going to be real awful. Kim, I'll smile a couple times for a picture of it. The Children's Internet Protection Act requires that K-12 schools and libraries in the United States use internet filters and implement other measures to protect children from harmful online content as a condition for the receipt of certain federal funding. Edwardsburg Public Schools is required to annually reconfirm our SIPA compliance. We currently employ a checkpoint content filter and firewall, excuse me, and locally installed Bloxy software to provide this compliance. All students and staff sign a network and internet acceptable use agreement each year, and every network computer presents the acceptable use agreement prior to login. Edwardsburg Public Schools has been SIPA compliant since 2001 and will continue to be so. Are there any questions? Okay.
Thank you. Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda? I have no additions or corrections.
So moved. Support.
Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? The consent agenda includes the board meeting minutes from July 8th, 2024, the paying of the invoices, a leave of absence, Title IX Neola policy updates, policy update 2264, or it's a new policy 2264, and an update revision to policy 2266. It also includes the Elkhart Area Career Center agreement for 2024 and 2025. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Support.
Are there any questions or discussion regarding that? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Moving on to district highlights, the strategic plan.
Hit the turn on the overhead for me, please. Team effort.
There you go. Got it.
Now let's see if I can. Okay, what am I doing wrong here, Larry? Maybe it's because I can't see. Oh, wait, there we go. Sorry, Jared. Just wanted you to get up off your seat. There it is. Okay, so a few months ago, I came and presented our original draft. That was a culmination of the work that the district did over the last year, gathering input from all the stakeholders, and then coming together with a diverse strategic plan executive team to then draft our proposed goals. Then this last step was getting additional input from the board, which is then now what I'm going to go over and let you know kind of what all of your input was, and then how it has been reflected in our strategic plan that will then be an item of business for you to vote on this evening. So mission and vision, nothing had changed. That remained the same. And all stakeholders reported that they were very comfortable with the mission and vision and felt that that was still applicable today. One thing that we did tweak a little bit based on some good input from the board is when we developed our shared values. And the shared values were cool in the fact that this had a lot of student voice that came into them, because it was really our 2 student representatives that said, our values are pride, passion, purpose. Like, why are we going to try to come up with something else? Which, a lot of times students are, smarter than we are. And so then we drafted these belief statements. The first one didn't change from the last time I was here. We take pride in a culture of high standards and academic excellence. Passion is one that we tweaked a little bit based on input from the board. So we changed to, we believe students discover their passion when provided with a wide array of inspiring opportunities and experiences. And originally this was more about students' passion being a shared responsibility of community, teachers, staff. And I think the input that we got from you guys, which was really great, was that really this is with the students. So we provide the opportunities, the students are who find their passion. And then purpose didn't change. We believe the purpose of Edwardsburg Public Schools is to provide a safe environment to learn and grow where all Eddies are supported and respected. So I think those values really sum up who we are here at EPS. Then start just some fun pictures. This part didn't change. This explains the process that we went to, from collecting the surveys to having all of the SWAT meetings to then coming together as an executive team, drafting, refining, and then tonight the final approval. So this gives anyone who reads it, who comes to our district website, that they can see the process we went through to develop this. What we did add, again, great input from the board, was to say to clarify next steps, because I think some people at first said, well, wait a minute, you did all this work and you have a 4-page document of a few goals. What, how are they measurable? What are we going to do with them? And really those overarching goals, we don't necessarily know how far we're going to get. We hope we're going to get pretty far. But really, as we know from the last strategic plan, things come up. Last time it was COVID that derailed the whole plan. And little things can come up where maybe some things are going to move a little bit faster than others. Maybe some we need to stop and reflect on more. So the next steps are going to be that yearly there are action steps that are laid out. What will happen next year at the end of the year for the following year. This year, what will happen is that we will create these action steps during September. We'll come back and share with the board and the community what those action steps are. And who's going to be creating those action steps? We're going to, again, create groups of diverse stakeholders to draft those. And then we will progress monitor those, and those will be shown. We will communicate those out through our website, through our newsletters. We will basically put as much information out on where we're at with our strategic plan as we can, so that all stakeholders can access that. And one of our goals in our strategic plan that you'll see is communication. So we will figure out what are those modes that people want to see. We know we have some members of our community who really want to hear it either in person or in, through an actual physical newsletter. We know that there are some that would prefer to get updates electronically. And so we want to meet all of those diverse needs. Then for any of the tweaks in the next couple of sections, they're very minor. So there's some action words where some of our goals really included things that would be considered more of an action step on exploring, figuring out what we need to do to get there. Some great feedback from the board of like, no, our goal needs to really have, this is what we're doing. So none of the goals were changed. Some were tweaked just to have, this is what we're doing. And then those additional words and thoughts that were in there then will just become part of our process on how we get there. There was some input from the board that was really great. You won't see it reflected in here because a lot of it had to do with some action steps. So that will come back to those groups of stakeholders and you will see it there. So same with community and communication, only some wordsmithing, nothing changed in terms of what the content was, and then facilities and funding as well. So, and then here was all of the people who sat on the strategic planning executive team, and of course the Board of Education with strategic planning, and really just a thank you to any stakeholder who provided input into this, because we really did look at every little bit of data we had, and we had a whole bunch of it, which was great to see, and put that together into the plan you have before you tonight to vote on.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions or discussion regarding the strategic plan? Hearing none, we'll move into our items of business. Larry already read our SIPA compliance internet safety agreement. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Support.
Is there any questions or discussion regarding the SIPA compliance internet safety agreement? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oops, aye, sorry. Agenda.
Moving on to the ratification of bond purchase resolution. Resolution for the bonds consideration to ratify an offer to purchase the bonds as accepted by the district's underwriter, Stifel, Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Mrs. Anson?
I move to ratify and affirm the administration's acceptance of the offer to purchase the 2024 school building and cited bonds, Series 1, as submitted by the district's underwriter, Stifel, Nicholas and Company Incorporated, and to approve all other related matters as presented in the resolution.
Support. Are there any questions or discussion regarding that? Hearing none, this will be a roll call vote. Tony?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Natalie?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Justin?
Yes.
And Tammy?
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on to the bid approvals for geotechnical services and survey services. Sean Purcell of Tower Pinkster recommends that the Board of Education award both the geotechnical services soil borings bid and the survey services topography, utilities, boundary limits, the bid to Drosegnia and Associates. These services are required to move forward with the bond project of developing and improving driveways at the primary and intermediate schools. Is there a motion to approve the bid proposals?
So moved. Support.
This will also be a roll call vote. Is there any questions or discussion regarding the bid proposals? Tammy?
Yes.
Justin?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Natalie?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Becky? And
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. Moving on to the school lunch price recommendation. Director of Finance and Operations, Gail Enders, will present the mandated evaluation of school lunch prices to be compliant with Section 205 of the 2010 Reauthorization Act for the 2024-2025 school year.
So every year at this time, sometimes a little bit earlier, it depends on when MDE comes out with their price calculator. We come to you guys to set prices. Usually it's for student and staff, but again, this year, the governor has given us free lunch for all students. So we just need to set the pricing for staff lunches. Jody Bushrow, our dining services coordinator, did the calculations. It raised our prices for both, or it estimated our raised prices to be just under 25 cents, but you round it to the nearest quarter. So our new prices will be set at $5.25 and for adult lunch and $3.25 for adult breakfast. If you agree with this, which it's the lowest that we can go according to the MDE's pricing tool. So I also would like to say that we did that. Jody and I worked on the application for this year's school lunch, and all of our schools put together qualify for CEP, which would mean that even if the governor did not offer the free lunch for all students, our students do qualify for that. So we hit it in two separate areas.
Right.
So all I need you guys to do is vote on if you would like to make these the school prices and offer free lunch and breakfast for students.
Is there a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Support.
Are there any questions or discussion regarding the school lunch prices? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Moving on to the fund transfers approval. Ms. Gail Enders recommends the approval to transfer the remaining 2016 funds to the 2012 debt service fund. A formal motion is required by the board.
So every year we turn to RJ Naughton, who I believe has been here on video conference before, and he sets our millages. So with getting the approval to pass the 2024 bond, the new bond, it cancels out our 2016 bond. So we have funds still in that 2016 bond. So he suggested we take those funds that are left in the 2016 bond and move them to the 2012 bond for to help pay down that debt. So he suggested that we go ahead and have a motion passed to make the transfer necessary. So we can go ahead and do that this week.
Is there a motion to approve the transfer of the bond?
So moved.
Is there any question or discussion regarding that? Hearing none, this will be a roll call vote. Mr. Overmeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Sanson,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Friends,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Kimbrough,
Yes.
and Ms. Niemeyer.
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on to the 2024 general fund debt levy. The Board of Education is required to establish a levy of 2.85 mils to meet the bond obligations as proposed by PFM, the district's financial advisors.
So once again, when the county sends us our values for all the property in all of our municipalities, we set our debt based on how much we owe for the next year. And then we have to send the L4029 to the different townships and cities to send out the tax, or when they calculate and send out the tax paperwork. RJ has decided that the millage that we will need to levy for the 2012 bond debt is 1.25 mils, and the 2024 will be 1.6 mils, leaving it at the same 2.85 that we did last year.
Is there a motion to establish a levy of 2.85 mils to meet the bond obligations?
So moved. Support.
Are there any questions or discussion regarding that? This will also be a roll call vote. Tammy,
Yes.
Justin,
Yes.
myself, yes, Natalie,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
and Tony.
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on to the fun stuff, personnel. We're gonna do the hiring all in one big group because we have one big group. First up is Principal Tracy Spalding.
I have the pleasure of recommending Madeline Beeson to our staff. Madeline is unfortunately not here today, but Madeline will be filling the role of, it's kind of had a vague name so far. We've kind of settled on STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and music. And we have wonderful music teachers that cover that music piece. And I have wonderful classroom teachers who are covering the actual state standards for science content. And so Madeline gets to be the fun science art lady that comes to the building. Madeline is a graduate of Purdue University, where she earned both her bachelor's and master's degrees. Madeline has 8 years of teaching experience. I believe it was in Illinois, where she taught 3rd and 4th grade in a general ed classroom, as well as high ability classrooms. So we're going to tap into that knowledge as well. Her sons, Keller and Ketcher, are both elementary eddies, with one more little brother, Leo, anxiously waiting to join the ranks. Their family lives close by in Niles, and we are excited to welcome her to our team. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you very much. Moving on to Eagle Lake Principal, Mr. Jared Millian.
Good evening. I am thrilled to recommend the hiring of Pam Ritzler to fill our special ed vacancy. She comes to us with 17 years of teaching experience, most recently 10 years in Elkhart. She received both her bachelor's and her master's degree from Grand Valley State. And speaking with her references, they just talked about how they could not have done their jobs without Pam. And so I'm just thrilled to have her as part of our team.
Thank you.
Oh, they can't do their job.
Moving on to intermediate school principal, Mr. Andrew Jordan.
All right. I have the honor of recommending our first art teacher at the intermediate. This is a new position. And Julie McClellan is our candidate. She received her Bachelor of Science degree in elementary education with a minor in visual arts from IUSB. She also has a K-9 visual arts endorsement from Bethel College and a Master's of Arts in Art Education from Western Michigan. She comes to us with more than 20 years of classroom experience teaching art. She also is a working artist herself, in addition to being an educator. She has art on display at multiple venues in Michigan. She's participated in Art Prize, and then most recently this last spring, she spent 2 weeks painting in an artist residency at the top of a mountain in Sicily.
Awesome. Moving on to middle school principal, Mr. Joshua Bourne.
Good evening, everybody. It's a tough meeting each year. Reminds me of how much summer does not allow my neck to fit into this shirt again. But it's been a good summer. So middle school has the honor of recommending Melissa Szymanski. So Melissa is coming to us after 5 years spent at Discovery Middle School teaching special education. I can tell you when I talked to her principal, you could just tell that was a pretty big hit to them. So we've got a great one here. She completed her Bachelor of Science degree at Bethel University for Human Services, and then earned her Master's of Arts teaching with the specialty of special education from Indiana University of South Bend. Jimmy and I, we just feel fortunate that we've kind of hit the lottery when it comes to hiring these last couple of years. And she's another great example, very quality person as I've gotten to know her. So
Thank you very
thank
much.
you. Welcome to Edwardsburg, Melissa.
Moving on to high school principal, Mr. Ryan Markle.
Good evening. It's always an exciting time when we get to formally introduce or recommend board or staff for hire. It's especially exciting when they get to be a former Eddie. And so tonight I'm recommending a 1998 graduate, Mrs. Morgan O'Grady. Morgan graduated from Edwardsburg and decided to go to Indiana University South Bend. She studied business and did that in the business world for several years and decided she wanted to go back to teaching or to give teaching a try. So she went to Bethel and did their teaching program there. And then she's also recently completed a counseling program through Indiana Wesleyan University. She spent the last 15 years coaching track and teaching business at the Penn Harris Madison district. And we've actually met in the past at track meet. So we were made some dialogue years ago, and now here we are seeing it full circle. So I'm really excited to recommend Morgan to join our staff.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the recommendation of hiring for Mrs. Morgan O'Grady, Melissa Szymanski, Julie McClellan, Pamela Ritzler, and Madeline Beeson?
Motion to approve. Support.
Is there any questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Welcome to the family. Would like to say anything? I always give this opportunity to our new hires.
Speech.
I think, I'm honored. I forgot my Letterman's jacket again. And my 1994 cross country t-shirt that still fits with.
Awesome.
Lucky you.
Everybody at Thompson at Edwardsburg are like amazing schools and stuff. And so I'm just honored to be a part of a great family.
We're very glad to have you. Welcome.
I'm really excited too. I've heard all of the things that they've heard too. So I'm excited to be here and can't wait to work with them.
Great. Thank you very much.
And I feel the same. I'm excited to be the first art teacher.
That is very exciting.
Yes, it is.
Okay, moving on to the ratification of the food service contract. The district has reached a tentative agreement with the dining services personnel for a contract for the 2024 to 2026 school years. They're recommending that the Board of Education formally approves this agreement. Is there a motion to approve the agreement?
So moved.
Support.
Is there any questions or discussion regarding the ratification of the food service contract? Hearing none, this will be a roll call vote.
Yes.
Mr.
Sorry.
Kimbrell?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Dr. Frantz?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Anson? And
Yes.
Mr. Obermeyer?
Yes.
Motion passes. Ratification of maintenance contract. The district has reached a tentative agreement with the maintenance personnel for a contract for the 2024 to 2026 school years. We are recommending that the Board of Education formally approve this agreement. Is there a motion to approve that agreement?
So moved.
Support. I'll support Kevin.
Are there any questions or discussion regarding the maintenance contract? Hearing none, this will also be a roll call vote. Mr. Overmeyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Anson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Dr. Frantz?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Kimbrell?
Yes.
And Ms. Niemeyer?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Ratification of transportation contract. The district has reached a tentative agreement with the Transportation Personnel Association, SMEA, the MEA, and NEA for a 2-year contract for the 2024 to 2026 school years. We are recommending that the Board of Education formally approve this agreement.
Move to approve.
Support.
Is there any questions or discussion regarding that? All right, this will also be a roll call vote. Ms. Niemeyer?
Yes.
Mr. Kimbrell?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Dr. Frantz?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Anson?
Yes.
And Mr. Overmeyer?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Approval of the district's 5-year strategic plan. Dr. Such gave us a presentation earlier. It is recommended that the Board of Education formally approve the 5-year strategic plan presented by Dr. Such.
Motion to approve.
Support.
This will also be a roll call vote. Are there any questions or discussion before we?
I just want to give Courtney a lot of credit for this because I think she really pulled it together well and included a ton of people into this and really happy with the end result.
Yeah.
Great job, Dr. Sue.
Agree.
Thanks, Tony. But I do have to defer to, I mean, the people who, I got to facilitate it, but the work was done by everyone on the executive team and all of the stakeholders provided input. So
And we'll
I appreciate
continue.
that, but I will convey that thanks to everybody who worked really hard on it.
And incorporating all the feedback as well, like after the fact, giving us the time to kind of look it over and send in our edits or our questions or whatever too. That was helpful.
Your
too.
work's not done yet.
Yeah.
Just beginning. But thank you.
This will also be a roll call vote. Mr. Obermeyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Anson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Dr. Frantz?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Kimbrell?
Yes.
And Ms. Niemeyer?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Motion passes. Moving on to the Michigan Association of School Boards Certification of Delegates. Based on our district's student membership, we're entitled to have 3 voting delegates and an equal number of alternates. The delegate assembly will be held on Thursday, October 24th, 2024 at 7 p.m. in Lansing, Michigan. Before we start that, I would like to say that I attended the Summer Institute this past weekend in Gaylord, Michigan. There was a lot of information shared. There were a handful of superintendents there with their board members. There were lots of board members, lots of discussion, lots of education. I would like to encourage everybody to attend the Lansing if you can. I've already signed up to go. So we can have 3 delegates and 3 alternates. Is anyone else? I would like to.
I'd be happy to go.
I would say that I've done it in the past and it is really incredibly interesting. If you've not had an opportunity to do it yet.
I'd be happy to go.
Is there anybody else that would like to be a delegate or an alternate?
I'll be an alternate.
You'd be an alternate?
Sure.
Would you like to go, Natalie?
I'll be a delegate
Okay.
unless somebody else wants it.
Would you, anybody else?
I'd be an alternate as well if somebody decides they can't go.
Okay.
I wanted to check sorry. Diligently checking.
All right. Well, is there a motion to have Natalie, Tony, and I be delegates and Kevin and Tammy be alternates? Justin, are you interested?
I mean, I could always be an alternate. That's fine. Thursdays are typically okay, so I should be able to do that.
Okay.
So
Is there a motion?
Motion. So moved.
All right.
3 delegates and 3
Three
alternates.
alternates.
Chelsea, is it an overnight? Just so we set
No.
proper.
It's
at 7 p.m. So,
So-
what does it look like?
it's a leadership conference, so that kicks off the whole weekend.
The whole weekend. Okay.
Yeah, if
Just make sure we
you're not
said-
required to stay the whole weekend, you can go just for to
For
vote
that night.
for that night.
Okay. Got it.
Or you can sign up for MASB classes and make a whole weekend of it. It's up to you. That's why I took 6 different classes this weekend at the Summer Institute. On top of they did a presentation on moving from conflict to conversation. It was very informative. On the same topic, we did have some board members that were interested in having Neola come and facilitate a policy review, if we could schedule that for one of our future work sessions. I would also, it was mentioned about trying to do our committees, putting them on a schedule. I would like to see how you guys felt about having MASB come in and facilitate a discussion about our committees, committee structure, and a schedule. Is anybody opposed to having MASB come in and do that? It was mentioned also this past weekend that I know when Kevin and I joined the board, we had MASB come in that December and do the roles and responsibilities training before we were even seated at the table. This weekend, they said a lot of boards will facilitate a CBA 101 and do it with their new board members and the whole board. I thought that was a great idea to refresh everything. And I was wondering if you guys would be opposed to us scheduling that for our workshop that's scheduled in November. It will be after the election, so we know that we're going to have at least one new board member. And the facilitator said that they're filling up quickly. So because a lot of people are scheduling the 101s, would anybody be opposed to scheduling that? And we don't have a work session scheduled for December, which December I'll probably be busy making cookies anyway. It gets crazy. So
How much do they charge for these things?
So the state is reimbursing the district $100 a board member who attends. And if they're giving us that reimbursement now, we would pay whatever the fee is. And it's usually about $100 a person. Did it end up being a couple $100 plus mileage? And I don't know who would facilitate the CBA 101. I don't know which facilitator would come in and do it. But whatever workshop we schedule in district, they will reimburse $100 a board member, and because they want boards educated.
So my question is, we also have to do the organizational meeting. Are you saying that we would have MASB come in and do the 101, talk to us about the committee structure and Neola all in one night, or
No.
Okay.
No, it would be
Okay.
way different things. I don't know when Neola would be able to come in. Dr. Such said she had a friend that worked there, but I was thinking about the committee structure, committee meetings, if we could do that in September and then in November schedule. And I don't know when Neola would be able to come in. That was part of the discussion this past weekend as well, that somebody said that best practices say that you should touch every policy at least once every 3 years. And I don't know. We have some policies that are dated 1994. They may have been touched, just not stamped with a date. They said that we can sort our policies by oldest to whatever and start plugging at them that way. But why reinvent the wheel if the Neola rep is gonna, if they have a way to do it?
I think we had talked about this briefly at the policy subcommittee. Neola has basically a structure that they kind of say, this is how we recommend a board go through and update. So we were kind of like, so do we just divide it up? And we thought, well, if they already have a process
follow,
for this,
right.
Yeah.
it seems a lot easier to follow their process because policy is what they do rather than us trying to sort it all out ourselves.
Right.
So it sounds like they come and kind of give instructions and then we take it from there. And it doesn't sound like they're involved after that.
No.
Then we kind of divide up the work.
We can reach out to Chris at Neola and then find out what dates
Yeah.
they have available this year, and I can send that back out to the board.
Yeah, and maybe like a rough estimate of how much time they need.
Yeah.
Just so we can.
I would think the subcommittee with the other one, if we're going to have that subcommittee meeting, doesn't seem like it should be very long or very
No.
that involved. So why couldn't that be with, if we're going to, I don't know if we need to have 2 different meetings for that. If MASB is going to do them both, can't they just tuck it into one
Put
meeting?
it all in together.
I would hope so.
Well, I
mean-
think the 101 touches on everything. Like it's.
Is it the same one we did 2 years ago?
No, that what we did 2 years ago was roles and responsibilities. This is CBA 101, where it would talk
The
about.
course itself.
Yeah, the course itself.
Oh, collective bargaining?
No, it's certified board member.
Okay.
It would just go through all like what board members do and legal stuff, and it would touch on committees. It would touch on.
Do they reimburse you if you've already done this
Mhm.
class?
They do.
Can we get more information on it and maybe talk about, let's table that one.
Definitely think it's would encourage new board members to do it.
Right.
For sure.
And it's just a refresher about the
Yep.
legal and, you know,
Yeah.
different Open Meetings Act, and it just touches on all of the.
It's a real general, but there's a lot of topics hit. It's a good course.
It's a great way, some team building with a new board member and to get their feet wet.
So maybe we could get an outline to take a look at.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see.
I mean,
exactly.
I know. I mean, I
What are
know
we
it in my
talking?
head,
Is it-
but I don't know what
I'd like to see what it is.
paper.
So more information on that would be great. And then we can discuss it more.
Can we go ahead and schedule one for the September meeting for?
I'd like to get the Neola going as soon as possible because that we really have a lot of things that are pending that we really need to get moving on with some of those policies.
Reach out and see. I don't know if it'd
See
be September, October, just given
Yeah.
that September is so close. But
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
reach out tomorrow and find out what he has available. I think
Yeah.
he's back from vacation now.
That'd be great. Thank you.
All right. So we had a motion to approve the delegates and
Yes.
and
That's it.
support.
Support.
All in favor, please say aye.
Hi.
Opposed, no. Moving on to the Berrien Cass School Boards Association delegate. A Board of Education member must be appointed to serve on the Berrien Cass School Boards Association for the 2024-2025 school year. Meetings are held as needed in Berrien County. I was the member last year, and Becky served as the alternate. We have not had a meeting since last November. I'm more than happy to be the delegate again this year. If somebody else wants to do it, they're more than welcome to.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Would somebody be interested in being the alternate?
I can be your alternate. That's
I'll
fine.
be the alternate.
If they never meet. I can alternate that all day
The
long.
year before, we had 4 meetings, and now we have.
Oh, now you throw that in. All right. I reel it right in there. Okay. Well done.
Since November, so we haven't had a meeting at all. So,
Okay.
all right.
I did it for a few years, but when we
Yeah.
first started on the board, but they didn't have very many
No,
meetings.
I
then
know.
either.
It's fine.
All right. Well, is there a motion then to approve me as the delegate and Tony as the alternate for the Berrien Pass School Board Association?
So moved.
Support.
Is there any questions or discussion regarding that? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes. Moving on to the superintendent's report.
I know we've been sitting here for a while, so I will be brief, but I know school is starting after Labor Day, but a lot of our students and staff have been back for quite a while now. If any of you got to drive by the student parking lot at the high school a couple weeks ago for band camp, all of our marching band members were out practicing despite the heat. Luckily, it wasn't the 90-degree week, but they're getting ready to kick off the season, so that was really cool to go in and see just how excited they all are, along with how excited our band directors are as well too. Same with athletics. Athletics has kicked off already, not only with practices, but our cross country boys came in second last weekend on Friday. So that was exciting. And then the bond, just to update the community. I know we were just talking in our finance subcommittee meeting. We're starting on those next steps to plan for what our first few projects will be for those primary and intermediate parents. One of our very first projects that we'll be working for completing, or at least mostly completing next summer, will be the pickup and drop off loops. So that will be a welcome change, and also for our principals who stand out and work with that every day tirelessly.
We have a
as well,
hallelujah.
so there's going to be a lot coming. Really what the process is, which is really cool, is that they will draft up these ideas, they will bring them back to the board and to get input from different stakeholders as well. We're also going to be trying to get some more input with the former church property, so we know what it's going to be and what it's going to be used for, so they can start planning on that as well too. And then some additional updates that will be part of that first phase out at Eagle Lake, updating the bathrooms and the piping and the flooring. So I know, Mr. Melander taking over as principal there will be come next fall, hopefully looking a little bit different as well. So just really exciting to see the forward momentum from all that the community has given us. And I just look forward to continuing to update everybody on where we're at and get additional input that we need. And then before and after care, the last update I had at the end of the week was we are full in the morning and we are almost full in the afternoon. So that was even this late in the summer. Luckily, we got to meet the need for some families there. And then we are finalizing for late start Wednesdays. So far we have an additional 37 students who have said that they are interested in before care for those late starts. We should have things a little bit more finalized by the end of the week to go out what that's going to look like. We're waiting to see if we'll be licensed for some additional spots through Campfire, but then also we have some different groups such as PTO who've expressed interest in running some care beforehand too, maybe for some of our older students, like an open gym or something. So we're finalizing that. And then just a huge thank you. The summer has been very busy between our tech department, implementing a whole new phone system throughout the district on top of what they already do to get things ready with new Chromebooks. Our maintenance and building and grounds, we have rekeyed all of the outside doors. We are instituting swipe access at all of the buildings. And then just the typical day-to-day stuff, transportation. They have a new routing software they had to learn to get everything ready to roll on that first date. So just lots of updates. Again, I love walking into the primary this time of year. You can see your face on the floors. Just a big thank you to all of our staff who work year round to get everything ready for our little Eddies coming and our big Eddies coming back in a few weeks. So that's it.
Are there any subcommittee reports?
Policy committee met and just went over the updates that we did earlier, and then talked about Neola and updating.
All right. Moving on to comments from the audience. Saying none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Support.
Are there any questions or discussion regarding that? All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
First Google meeting.
Yay! Good job, Cheryl.
worked.
And Larry.
Woohoo, Cheryl.